Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. The Aspects of Aging weekly talk show with Christine A. Smith. Each Monday at noon Central, Christine hosts unscripted conversations with experts. Learn more at agingbetternetwork.com. The Parakeet Drive, You Are Worthy, is a book by Gina DeFay. This book is a powerful memoir about the ripple effects of a small act of kindness. The Parakeet Drive, You Are Worthy, is available on Amazon. Nancy Bockian, Best Entrepreneur Solutions, revealing the key ingredients to skyrocket business profits with proven strategies and tactics. Call Nancy at 514-895-1572, online bestentrepreneurssolutions.com. Albany Area Habitat for Humanity, since 1993, dedicated to building low-cost homes by forming partnerships with families. Get involved today on the web at albanyareahfh.org. And now let's get on with the show.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. We are here live and ready to go, right, Scott?
Yeah, it's been a week. I was on the road, did two of our shows last week from the road, but it's good to be home. You know, it's great to travel, good to see friends and family, but boy, I tell you, it's just comforting to be back home.
Oh my goodness, it's always great to be home for sure. And I'm excited for all the things that are happening for you at home. Tell everybody a little bit about the Waco Experience and the great things you got going on there right now.
Yeah, you know, it's coming up on 1 year. And in October, it'll be the 1 year anniversary of the Waco Experience, an American Story, broadcast on local station here, KBBW, with the towers that reach from Dallas down to Austin. So we're right here, right in the middle. Waco is right in the middle between those two big cities here in Texas. And I just had some remarkable conversations with a lot of folks. Coming up this weekend, it's part 2 of Waco Surf, a world-renowned surfing location here in the heart of Texas, about 3 or 4 hours from any surf beaches. But the U.S. surf team comes here. And in fact, you'll hear about some of the famous people like Metallica and who's the guy over at Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, he brought his family.
Zuckerberg.
He brought his family to surf at Waco Surf. So anyway, you'll hear all about that this weekend, and you can learn more at thewacoexperience.com.
Wow, that's so great. And I'm sure that in the comments, thewacoexperience.com will show up in there, and we'll make sure and get that up on the screen, as well as everybody can click on those things. You know, today, everybody, everything that shows up in the comments is in the show notes is clickable. You go directly to it. You don't have to remember it or try to figure out what's going on. And don't forget, we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time and 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. After we go live, then it sits on LinkedIn and YouTube forever, Facebook for 30 days, and wait, there's more. Then it converts to audio podcast. So you can listen on Spotify to our amazing shows, even if you don't have time to watch. So we just really appreciate that you would like, share, let everybody know about all of that. All the information that you need will be showing up today. The local.theexperience.video that you see there on the screen is the best place to go for all of the information about Scott and I, about our Experience Network, and about all the shows going on. And if you just want to go directly to our YouTube page, you can go to theexperience.video for all the Experience shows. I think, Scott, you have a separate, do you have a separate YouTube page for the Waco Experience?
You know, everything shows up on my YouTube channel. So if people go to local.theexperience.video, they can go right to that YouTube channel under my name. And you can get the episodes there, which are not video. Those are just audio only. Right. But the episodes do appear there because all the podcasts go to every channel that's available for podcasting, including YouTube.
which is so great. And, it's so great that you're broadcasting the Waco Experience on radio. And for everybody's info, we also broadcast the experience local on local radio here in the Willamette Valley, both on KDBIL in Albany, Oregon, and KYKN in Salem, Oregon as well. So it's really fun to be able to have that as well. And Scott, I'm just super excited for Nancy this morning. It was now over 5 years ago that you told me, hey, dude, have you ever heard of this Zoom thing? And I'm like, I have no idea what Zoom is. You go, well, I want you to come to the Global Tea Break and be part of this amazing group. And that's where I met Nancy. I'm not sure where you met Nancy, maybe before that, but she's such an amazing individual, and so glad that we get a chance to have her on today.
Yeah, she's got a great story, and she tells great stories. So we're going to be inspired again by our fabulous guest, Nancy May.
Well, let's get her on and get the conversation started. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning, gentlemen.
It is so great to have you here this morning. We are blessed that you are sharing your value with us today, and you're just such a good friend. So thank you for being here. And we'd like to start the show off just kind of basic and say, hey, who in the world is Nancy May? What are you up to? Give everybody a little snapshot.
Oh, God, it's on the first day of my summer vacation. No. Seriously, I've had, corporate wise, I've had a little over 35 years of experience dealing with public companies and corporate boards of directors. That's been my life for quite some time. Some of the large corporations down to smaller corporations worldwide. And over the course of time, I also have taken care of my aging parents, mom and dad, who are sadly now gone. Dad will be 5 years, September 11th this year.
Wow.
And will be 4 on December 8th. So it was a great ride, and I learned a lot in what I called Mom and Dad Inc. and built a podcast. Actually, the first boardrooms, the board stuff had a podcast. So that's when I first started podcasting. Brought in Kicking and Screaming with a publisher that I had a byline in a CEO magazine with. And then people said, well, how are you doing what you're doing with your folks? And I said, why don't I do a podcast on it? Don't waste my time. Don't bother me. Listen to the podcast. Wrote a book on how to survive 911 medical emergencies, which just got a really nice review from some new friends that we've met who handled all the emergency response system down in Miami, Florida, in the Miami County. And now, not that I'm not doing the other stuff, because there's always another hour in the day, right? But having fun building out a podcast network. We're starting with one show, but there are multiple shows lined up that are all related around cool food stuff, right? From stories to family trees to history to dating to game shows, you name it. We've got the laundry list, the economic development, you name it. We've got it.
So podcast network. I mean, this is kind of, it's exciting. I'll just say
it's like a radio network. CBS can do it, so can Nancy.
Right. and so is there a particular type of story that you want to share through these? Is it business? Is it family? Is it?
Well, each show has a separate niche, but it's all under sort of the food related umbrella. Okay. We have one that we're actively marketing behind the scenes in the state of Florida, really geared towards economic development, because Florida is known as a great state, but tourism is the prime source of business. And that's not always so stable, even though you've got great beaches and everything else. There's a lot of competition. But food, think about it. Food is not just, I say, oranges and cattle and a few crackers along the way, but everything that goes into putting a meal on our plate, whether it's a restaurant, at a hospital, if you're a patient, because Christina does that kind of work too with families, and to your own home. It's from the packaging to the innovation to the flavors. I worked with a big global flavor company in the board stuff. It's amazing how much touches our plate that we don't know about. How do you create the machines to extrude the pasta? If, grandma's not making it every day or at least once a week, whatever. It's like Prince Spaghetti Day. It's Wednesday. Anthony, come on over. So, that's one show. Our current show is Family Tree Food and Stories, where you can look at the history of food as it relates to family and stories and what's going on there. We did a show on last week's show. They drop every Thursday of the current show, which is, like I said, Family Tree Food and Stories. We talked about bugs, eating bugs. Over 2 million people purposely eat bugs.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's amazing the amount of variety and information we can get out today using podcasting and live streaming. We love having people like you on, man, Nancy, that are also involved doing this. I subscribed to your podcast the other day because I didn't want to miss. Wanted to check that out. And
Did we bug you out?
Yeah. I want to go back though a little bit to what you said, taking care of your aging parents, because you and I have a lot in common there, because of course,
Right.
It's been 3 years now since I lost mama, and probably about 9 years since I lost my dad. And was really a blessed time being able to be with them in the last years, especially my mama. She went through Alzheimer's and it lasted for a while. But it was all about the perspective that I was able to keep through all of that and enjoy the good moments, the happy moments with mama, as I called them. And she was the happiest person alive, which helped. She was definitely a very happy Alzheimer's patient. But, I think with life, whether you're in boardrooms, small businesses, no matter what you're doing, a nonprofit in life, whatever you're going through, we all have this backstory of family.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so important. Talk about that a little bit, the importance of that time you had caring for your parents and all that, because I think that's just so good. Well,
I would say it probably started many, many years ago as a kid. And I didn't realize that until I became an adult, and probably even more so after my parents had passed, because I had a middle sister. There was 3 of us, my sister Cindy, another middle sister, Tracy, and I was the oldest. And Tracy passed away from childhood leukemia. Must have been around, I was probably about 2nd grade, and she was around 3.5. So most of her life she was sick. And so I was the oldest child. And as I look back now, I was always told, figure it out, take care of yourself, do things. And I don't think it was my parents telling me that they didn't care for me. They didn't want to help me, but they had so much to take care of themselves that there was a lot going on. So as I look back now, I think a lot of that, and then growing up through life as in our family, my dad was an entrepreneur, and watching him was to see how my dad, my mom, and then I, ultimately at some point was charged with taking care of us, right? And whether it's family or not, we all take care of one another in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a client or a pet or a family member. And I think that's so important to keep us centered, a little humble at times, right? And to realize, even if we didn't have the best family life, how important that is to making who we are today. The latter years of my folks' life was great. I mean, we had a good time. They moved down to Florida from Massachusetts when they were physically fine and capable, but had wanted to go into a care facility, not, as they said, not to be a burden to my sister and myself. And I truly appreciated that. But within, I'd say probably about 2 years, Mom was having some mini strokes, TIAs, which led to dementia. I think she was probably having them at the house before they moved in. Depression was setting in. There were a couple of things that you just don't know if you've never been down this channel before. And she was losing weight, and one of the cleaning ladies at the facility told me when I came to visit that they were told not to bring food to Mom if she wouldn't go down to the dining hall. She lost about, I'd say, 50 to 60 pounds in about 5 months.
Mhm.
So, and then the cost of their care went from what it was a stable, and it was a continued care facility, from about $3,500 a month to $30,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My story with mom and dad is not unusual. In fact, I was talking to somebody about this last night at a Florida podcasters meeting, and she works in rehab, and she says, I see it all the time. It's so bad of what's happening in some of these facilities, even the beautiful ones. But that said, I sat down with my dad, who was totally cognizant, and said, Dad, you put me in charge of the finances. You put me in charge of your well-being to make sure that you didn't run out of money. How long do you want to live? Do you have a magic lamp so you can tell me? And I mean, I kind of said it that way, but I also explained finances in a realistic way and said, look, here's the deal. You're about to run out of money. We've got a financial advisor that I'm going to fire because he's fraudulent. You've got an attorney who we're going to fire because he's screwed around with your finances with a financial advisor, the CFO, and a doctor, and the care facility. So we got them out of that. Dad wanted to know if we could leave that day. And I said, nope, can't leave that day. Got to figure out where the hell we're going to go next. And with the help of a friend, we found an interim place. Ultimately, we moved twice and bought a house. The care facility actually said, don't leave. You can't move your parents. We can pretty much guarantee they'll be dead in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. They didn't want our cash to go. Of course, we were cash cows. Well, guess what? I have before and after pictures that are pretty horrific of mom and dad in that care facility. Mom had 8 stitches in her head, 2 or 3 cracked ribs, was losing her sight, was having all sorts of issues. And dad just wanted to put his blinders on because he was there with his love. And that was it. That was okay. So we moved them, and I have probably about 3 months later, night and day, mom puts weight back on. She's smiling. She's laughing. We have aides that I'm working with independently, and we're one big happy family running what I referred to as Mom and Dad Inc. It took me 3 years to unravel the BS and the garbage that went on with them financially. And we took some aggressive moves with the financial advisor that I have and love to this day for his help and guidance and his honesty. But we were able to make sure that one, they did not outlive their money, and 2, they were able to live really well and have, make every day count, as I say.
Well, that's where
Scott, I'm going to jump in here real quick.
Go ahead, Russ.
Because I wanted to comment directly on that and say, there's so many people that deal with such horrific situations and have to deal with the finances and all that. I was so blessed to have a very organized father that had everything pretty much simply laid out for me. And he and I actually walked through it leading up to moving them to, for them choosing to go to independent living to start.
Yeah.
He only made it 5 months in independent living and passed away. And then my mama made it she moved on to memory care and made it there for several years. But the beautiful thing for me that was a blessing, I didn't have to go through what you went through because he had it pretty simple and did not have people messing with their money in the background. So the good thing was that was not an issue. But I think what is so interesting is whether it's financial, emotional, or just the how the parents are dealing with it can be so straining on the kids and the caregivers. And I just see so many people being pulled down. And I just want to tell everybody that there's hope, that you need to have good help and good people around you, because people that try to take it on their own and do it all by themselves are the ones that seem to get in trouble. People that reach out and have family, friends, professionals that help them seem to make it much better. Right, Nancy?
I would say so. I did this from 1,200 miles away. My folks were in Florida. I was up in Connecticut. My sister's in Oklahoma. I was, the way I describe it is I was CEO of Mom and Dad Inc. Period. And it was the easy way as a business owner and entrepreneur to think about it. You've got customers, which are the customers are mom and dad. You have a board of directors, so beneficiaries, my sister and her family, and myself. So those were sort of the board people. You had employees, your aides and your vendors, and the suppliers, the doctors, the hospital, everything else that went involved in it, and then your support team, which are your legal, your financial, everybody else that goes involved. So if you structure it that way, but I also quickly learned that the business of aging care is business. And if you get your head around that first and don't take it personally, then you can focus on what needs to be done. Right. And you can fire the people that you need to, including doctors and hospital. I dealt with what they call, candidly behind the scenes, a death squad at the hospital or a death board. They basically didn't want to take care of Dad. And I said, here's the deal. I know how much this procedure is going to cost. He wants to fight to the end. That's his charge. That's what he wants to do. I'm going to honor those wishes. We have the money to take care of. I will sign any waiver that if he dies on a procedure table, that's fine. You let me know what you want to do. So I did my homework in about 30 minutes when they told me they didn't want to do it. And it was, and then they walked me down to a very dark room with 7 people. I didn't get a chance to sit at the head of the table. Damn, But it was the cardiologist that was working with Dad who actually stood up and said, if I didn't know what Nancy was doing and how she managed the team of care for her folks, I wouldn't be here supporting her. And I lost it then. I was fell over because I didn't expect him to quietly say that. And they went through with things. But yeah.
So your story,
my story is not unusual. It's really not unusual. It's just, I think
I was going to say it's not unusual, but it is unusual because you were equipped with, as you said, your father having been an entrepreneur and giving you an example of how to run a business, which you were able, as you say, bring into Mom and Dad Inc. And a lot of people.
And he was always organized. Every time I came down to visit, here's where the files are, here's where things are, here's the book, like your dad, Russ. Here's where he would always make sure we had a chance to meet with the accountant who I fired, the financial advisor who I fired, and the lawyer who I fired. Because I got some suspicion that was going on. But until you were given the full legal control to off with their heads. So you can't, as much as I wanted to do that, I said, Dad would make that change because he was emotionally attached to these people. So I understand that.
It was in October, it'll be 30 years since my father passed.
Oh, yeah.
And he was caring for his mother at that time.
Wow.
So I was 33 years old and given the responsibility of my grandmother.
Wow.
I had no experience. And
that's tough.
And it was a challenge. She was in dementia. And when I went to visit her, I could only visit her for 10 minutes at a time because in her brain, she was at work and she was on break. And she'd tell me, I got to go back. She's a hard woman, the boss that she works
for. So
for.
you run with it. It's okay.
Yeah. So I would leave and then we, come back and hit her on another break. I told my wife, I said, I hope when I get to that point, I don't end up back at work. And she said, no, you'll end up in reruns of Star Trek. But I want to bring this around because one of the things.
Live well and prosper, Scotty.
That's right. One of the things I remember about my grandmother was those kitchen conversations. And this brings it back to the food story. So, people spend thousands of dollars to outfit their living room and their family room, and then all of the important and fun and memorable conversations
in the kitchen
are in the kitchen.
Parties happen in the kitchen, right? Everything happens in the kitchen.
Yeah, so I want to bring it back to this new venture that you have in your new podcast, and kind of start to, as we wind down, let's focus on these great stories around food and family.
Well, girl and guy's got to eat. So, right. Whether it's 3 square or 1, whatever it is, there's always a story around a dinner table from when you were kids. things that you liked, things that you didn't like, hiding the liver and the mashed potatoes and making sure the dog ate it, right? Growing up. Or memories of what happened as you even got older. And it's interesting when you talk to people about their heritage and who they are. Now, if you're a citizen of the United States, we still tend to say, I'm not American, but we are. I'm Italian, I'm French, I'm Jewish, I'm Irish, I'm Russian, I'm German. And it ultimately always comes back to some point in a conversation about food, right? My mama's Sunday sauce, my dad's steak, my grandfather's cornbread, whatever, grandma's cookies, whatever it was, there always is something that comes back to food. Or it could just be the conversations and how you gathered at a meal, not just at a holiday, but every day. So the other day I was telling somebody how we had moved to a new house that we're still finishing building. And I still unpacking, a bunch of our napkin rings. So as kids growing up, we all had antique napkin rings that had been passed down through my dad's family. And I'm like, oh my God, there's mine, and there's my dad's, and there's my mom's, and there's my sister's. And the napkin rings always sat around a cloth napkin, and they get changed out once a week. It was probably gross, but we did it anyway. Laundry. And if we sat at the wrong table with the wrong napkin and the wrong napkin ring, it always felt like you had, it's like putting your left shoe on your right foot. It's weird. Right. So, there's stories of just simple little things like that. Or we had friends over for dinner the other night, and I had my great grandmother's dishes that I used that they didn't know, but it was, it made me feel good. It's part of the story.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I have great food and dinner table stories from my childhood, but we don't have time for those. But anyway, I love all that you have brought this morning, Nancy, and we could go on and on, but I've got to be the responsible host and start wrapping things up. So
Aww.
I wanted to give you a chance to kind of wrap things up, put a bow on it, give us your gold nugget of today's conversation. Let us know what you really want people to remember from today's conversation, and let everybody know how to get in touch with you so they can reach out, because I know they're going to want to reach out. And just a reminder to everybody, if you're coming in late or you're watching this on replay, please put hashtag Team Replay. If you're watching a replay, please know that you can go back and watch us on replay forever on LinkedIn and YouTube, and 30 days on Facebook. So please do that. Also converts to audio podcast. You can listen to this on the road, on the way to work, making your breakfast, whatever it is. So Nancy, go ahead and wrap things up for us.
I would say that life is a journey, and the skills that you build over the course of a lifetime are things that you can use in every aspect of your life, whether it's in the boardroom or the kitchen, it doesn't matter, or even taking care of mom and dad. And finally, with our podcast, as Sylvia, my co-host, and I like to say, every meal has a story and every story is a feast, and make every day of your life a feast.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, thanks again for being here. We're going to have you back sometime, because there's just like hours of things we could talk about, but we appreciate you being here today. Scott, any last words before we let Nancy go?
I just, Nancy, I love that you've made this transition, but it seems very natural to be involved with food and family and stories. I don't see it as a change. I just see it as an expansion on what you've already done for people.
And so many business deals took place over a meal, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would agree. I would say the number one way to build relationships, whether it's in business or life, is through food or coffee. That's what I always do. Take them to lunch or bring them coffee, and there you go. So Nancy, thanks so much. We're going to let you go. Say goodbye here on screen, but hang tight in the green room. We'll see you after we wrap things up.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Awesome, Scott. Oh my goodness. And Nancy has just got so many years of wisdom and so much information. I love all the things she's doing. And this whole food thought is just great on her podcast.
Yeah. A lot of practical advice for people who have to deal with their loved ones and facilities and taking charge and realizing that you do have the opportunity to take charge, that you don't have to just go with the flow. You can go against the current and do what's best for your family, including what their wishes are, just as Nancy's story was.
Right. Well, all of Nancy's information, everybody, is ticking along the bottom. It is there for you as far as her LinkedIn advice address, and also in the comments, if I get back to that, we have all of Nancy's information. There it is on the screen, her website and YouTube. So please check that out. Please connect with Nancy. We just really encourage you to reach out today, and she's such a blessing. So Scott, I, as always, so thankful for you. And another Wednesday wrapped up. I tell you, these go so fast.
Absolutely. It's just a quick 30 minutes on Monday and a quick 30 minutes on Wednesday. And Russ, it's always fun to hang with you and bring in fabulous people like Nancy. And so find her on podcast.familyfoodstories.com. And you can also get her on facebook.com, nancy.may.520.
Yes. And again, thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget, we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time or 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time. And so please join us. Also, please go to local.theexperience.video. All the information about Scott and I. You can also subscribe to our YouTube page there, or just go to theexperience.video. We'll go directly to our YouTube page. It's growing, and appreciate you subscribing today. And with that, we're going to say goodbye until next week. We'll be back 7 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time next Wednesday. And until then, have a blessed week and enjoy
the experience.
There you go. See you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.